Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I was live a minute ago, but somehow my stream got dropped, and I talked to myself for a good period of time before I even knew it. That's the first time that this streaming service has pulled the rug out from under me. So I apologize. How's everybody doing this evening? I see I've got a comment from Bubba on where I got dropped off the live stream, but that's unnerving. Hi, Ronette. I decided to go live tonight. I wasn't going to go live. I was going to do a pre-recorded presentation on my main situation. I just got up here, Nikki. I was up earlier, and I got plucked off for some reason. I talked to myself for about 10 minutes, and I was up, and then I got taken down. I don't know why. But now, so I signed back in. I just want to go over some things. And Bubba's here. Hi, Aaron. 2 times in the night. Yeah, I guess you saw me on Nikki's. And that's part of the reason I decided to go live. I had a live stream where I was cautioning my listeners not to be down, not to be distressed. And from what I gathered, that people are getting really dark and negative in certain situations. So we need to waylay that and talk to people. That is part of our job, awaken people, and also to reassure and comfort others. But as I was saying, to a lot of people who may not have tuned into Nikki's broadcast, to hear what I had brought up, and a lot of people, hopefully their words getting out, but I've been checking with different observers of the election to find out and take a pulse. And Arizona has gotten very tight, and Charlie Kirk, for the first time since he's been reporting, has voiced concern. He's gone from totally positive to feeling that it's going to be a slim chance for Kerry to win, given these dumps. I'll just call them dumps. And we don't need people to get down in dumps over it. But anyway, let me give it a description of the scenario, the actual posture of the situation as of 20 minutes before I came on. Now, they had another dump of 120,000 what they call late/early. Okay, late/early items, and by that they mean they were votes cast early that are being delivered late. Now, how is that reconciled with reality? And out of that 120,000, there's 17,000, from my understanding from Charlie Kirk and his crew, that nobody can verify where that 17,000 came from. Now, how they become late when they were voted early, how they get there this late after an election. Well, a intrepid reporter who was one of several told to leave the counting areas took it upon himself to follow a Penske truck. And it turned out there was a number of Penske trucks rattling down the road, and they happened to be full of the items we're discussing. And he followed them to what's called the Runbeck building, Runbeck, and that is Runbeck Systems, which is a printing company. The setup is supposed to be, now this is Katie Hobbs in charge of all this stuff, that when these items leave the polling places, they get stuffed into these rider rent trucks and taken to this printing company, which is supposed to verify the signatures on the outsides of the envelopes. And they supposedly use technology much like banks use to verify signatures on checks. And once they're verified, they're loaded back up in the Penske trucks and taken to the main counting center. Now, why they can't count them at the polling precincts and report each precinct secures these items and then keeps them safe if there's a problem and they just report their numbers, we know why. So it turns out that this company, the machine they're using costs $1.6 million and it can count 90,000 ballots. I mean, it can verify 90,000 signatures an hour, in 1 hour. They have 2 machines at that location. Now, this race is being put down to what they're calling the final dump. The final dump will be tomorrow. They say tomorrow afternoon or evening. So I guess that is the last run of the Penske trucks. And who's to say that out of a side alley, as I said on Nikki's broadcast, some Penske truck pops out that nobody's ever seen before, preloaded. So anyway, no one can verify, confirm that or anything. So the final dump is tomorrow, consisting of about 100,000 ballots. Now, if this machine can do 90,000 an hour, I do not know why it takes that long. And they are estimating that the final counts won't be done till first of the week. And they're saying out of this 100,000, the final dump, that Kari Lake needs to get between 62 and 65% of this final 100,000 dump to win. So now you know the posture of the Arizona situation. But when I was talking to myself, when I thought I was live and I got plucked off after Bubba said hi. Hi, Bubba. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Rocksteady. Hi, Mike C. Hi, Sandy. And Debbie and Aaron. Okay, you're hanging in with me, Wild West. Anyway, as I was saying, I said on Nikki B show that I was confident that I stood with Kari Lake when she said she was going to win. I said I agree with her, and I say the same thing. I am confident that she is going to win, and I am still confident that she is going to win. I'm not going to be down in the dumps, but I was confident that Donald Trump was going to win 2020. So I will say this. I was right in my past confidence in Donald Trump, and I'll be right about Kari Lake. She's going to win. But it may be the same way Donald Trump did. You get what I'm saying? So, I have no doubt in my mind, and I'm not going to be discouraged, and I'm not going to be down in the mouth. And this is before the world. The world is watching this show. Now, the other point that I brought up was that I feel that we lost Arizona when uh, Joe Arpaio was forced out, and then under criminal investigation to the point where Donald Trump had to give him a pardon. We lost Arizona and didn't even know it when John McStain was a senator, the so-called war hero. We know what he was up to. So everybody's going, "Oh my God, we're not gonna win the Arizona governor race." Well, we won a House seat in Arizona today. Okay, Kerry ain't out, but it's something we never had for decades because of John McStain. It was something we haven't had even in the largest county of Arizona since they forced out Joe Arpaio. So, there's no crying in the beer at this table. I'm saying that, okay? Because we got them on the run, and they're doing everything in the book, and it is hard to hide when the world is watching. So I'm confident, and I'm keeping my chin up, and we're going to keep up the good fight. Now, who's to say that in that Runbeck building we don't have a friend or two or three, if you know what I mean? You think we're the only ones that ever heard of the Runbeck building just today? You think we don't have intelligence? We don't have operatives? I wouldn't give our military intelligence such short shrift. That's right, Aaron. All eyes are on the rats. You're saying, hopefully, I know they're on the rats. Now you saw Joe Biden. Before I'll tell you why he said what he said and what he said in a minute. But I said everybody that watched the operation in Florida, and it wasn't reported nationally, but you better believe it was reported locally, about people being arrested by the task force for fair elections, that would give any future person who wanted to engage in that kind of behavior second, third, and fourth thoughts. Well, I know I'm right because Joe Biden came out and mentioned by name Ruby Freeman and her daughter. And we know who those two are. Like a magic trick, out from under the table comes, whoa, a whole big box full of stuff. And then another box, and then another box, right in front of everybody on film. And he praised her, said she stood for freedom, and also, by giving that praise, gave assurances that she would be protected. Now that little message is going out to these operatives who may have been having second thoughts to keep the operation going. You don't have anybody getting cold feet because Ruby Freeman is a hero and I'll be a hero too. So if he felt like he had to go out his way to give assurances and praise to somebody who'd been caught, that they were having problems with people who were scared. And if anybody works at Runbeck Systems or knows anybody that works at Runbeck Systems that knows something and don't divulge it, if they're too scared, well, you got friends too. But if you know something and you're part of it, We got friends. Okay? That printing company is known. They probably know every inch of that building. He's probably got surveillance in there that people aren't even aware exists. So if somebody's working at that place and deciding to go along with some funny business, where do you want to spend the night for the next 5 years? Maybe 10. Okay. So hopefully people who have been, I've been hearing this. And the last show I was watching, after I watched Nikki B's, I watched another show. The term they were using was, it's a term for deflating or demoralizing. Demoralizing. A lot of people are getting in chats, not on my little dinky channel, but on bigger channels, to demoralize us. Okay? They're subscribing just to be able to make comments that demoralize. And it's coordinated. And some of it is bots. So for the past few days, I've been hearing a lot of this, of people being demoralized, allowing themselves to be demoralized to the point where they feel they need to call for assistance for their own well-being, because what, they're going to do something to themselves? Do you remember that movie with Cher when she slapped somebody and said, "Snap out of it"? I've already done 2 shows where I've talked about the power of Christ, where I talked about the promise of Christ, where I talked about how we're supposed to be spreading the good news. Now I'm going to be a little more firmer, especially with the American people. How other nations live, if you think about it, the greatest country this world has ever seen, the greatest country on the face of the earth, the last best hope, and 360 million of us get to live here, while 6.7 billion don't. We're the only ones that are the last best hope. We're the only ones that have the freedoms. And then if you want to look at it from a historical perspective and a biblical perspective, this nation is unique in the eyes of history. How many people have walked this earth and lived and died under tyranny and misery and never had a cappuccino machine, had a 60-inch flat screen TV, could go out and say what they want to say, work where they want to work? $360-some million of us, out of billions and billions and billions of human beings. And anybody wants to cry in either their sweet wine or their cold frosty beer, when there are billions of other people who don't have clean water to drink. I'm at the point with that kind of talk, I don't got a lot of patience for that. And as I said in past broadcasts, you have to count your blessings and quit spreading your misery. It doesn't do anybody any good. I know I'm being harsh, but we're not losing Arizona because we never had it since McStain. Now we got our foot in the door and we're banging on the door. And feel that we have people behind us that we're standing, we're speaking, we're saying, and we got our foot in the door, we're banging, 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 and we turn around and look at somebody sitting in the corner crying about how bad they got it. that's supposed to be our backup. And when Christ asks, what did you do? What were you doing during this time? Did you have the full armor of God on? No, I was sitting in the corner crying. I don't know you. Because it's either I know you or I don't know you. You think you'll be known if you don't cherish and appreciate what we have? There are people of very, very strong faith that carry joy in their heart because of the word, and they live in squalor. They have no hope to have the freedoms and the things that we have. A car is a rumor to them. Okay? A pair of shoes is equal to a car, a nice pair of shoes, but they still enjoy their life. They still try to live righteously and uprighteously and live and raise their children to have a better life than they have. Let me see what's going on in chat because I'm blowing up here. That's right, Sandy. You got to find your kingdom. You can't help others unless you're able to help yourself. And that is the biggest flaw of the people on the left. They don't know how to take care of themselves, but they want us to hit the ground running, telling the world how to operate. Wild West, I see what you're saying. Me too. On my father's side, before this nation was a nation. My mother came over here in the late 1950s on the SS Berlin when she left Germany as a teenager by herself to get out of that hellhole that Germany became after World War II. For her confirmation, she wore a dress her sisters sewed for her out of a parachute because they didn't have fabric. When the Allies came and parachuted near their village, they hid the parachutes. The villagers did, so they could have cloth because they were dressed in rags because everything went to the war effort. People were starving. They didn't have nothing to eat. An 8-year-old girl sees somebody get machine gunned down in the front yard, loses 2 brothers. She didn't sit and cry or telephone her friends and say how horrible things were. She went to make her life better. Where did she come? Here, to this country that we're in. And she forswore her German citizenship. And when Desert Storm started, she wore She put an American flag on the back of her car and in her window. And you never saw her crying her cereal or anything else. She was glad to have cereal. So I tell you what, getting down to the dumps and getting negative and dark thoughts spread like wildfire. You got to stamp it out. Spread the good news. We never had Arizona. We were not aware of the criminality in just that one state. Now look what we're aware of and what people all around the world are becoming aware of. Look at the situation with the cryptocurrency in the Bahamas. It's coming out now. Where those ties went to. They say, oh, they were all living together in a house and they were a bunch of college kids. Yeah, that's probably true. And it's true that Hunter's laptop is full of college-level disgusting behavior and drug use. Yeah, that's true. But what else is on Hunter Biden's laptop about international criminality and human trafficking? Yeah, they were living in a hippie hole in the Bahamas. But what else was going on with money laundering? Kickbacks to the DNC from taxpayer money that went to Ukraine. Our money that got kicked back through this bunch of hippies, okay? So don't feed the narrative, oh, it's just a bunch of hippie kids and Hunter was just being a bad boy and forget all about it. We were never aware that the Vice President of the United States under Barack Hussein Obama was going to China and getting money, going to Ukraine and getting money, that all these senators were. Now we're learning it. This isn't the time to sit down and bang your fists on the floor and cry. Or call your friends up and say, cry with me. No, fight, fight, fight. That's what this is about. And these devices were on. I sit there, I've watched videos. These children crawling in holes that you would see a fox crawl into. Tiny holes, maybe a foot and a half in diameter. To do what? To get cobalt out of the ground so we can have batteries to run these toys we're using. But we're using them to get the word out. But the thing is, there are people who, if they don't crawl in that hole, if they don't send their 8-year-old, their 7-year-old down in those holes to come out with a canvas bag of cobalt that they dug out of the ground with their fingers, that they won't have anything to eat that night. But they stay a family. They have their faith. They work hard. And they have nothing. No shoes on their feet. Now that's when somebody can sit down and cry. And they have a government that will never give them an opportunity to be free. That's why I say the American way, the American spirit is our best export, our greatest export. Okay, who's this Jimmy Ballon guy? You having a big laugh? This is one of the demoralizers. Or, I don't know, I've never seen your name before, Jimmy. But welcome to the chats. So, let's see. So we got all that stuff going on and a lot of stuff being exposed now that I've done my preaching. Well, that was his lawful name, right, Mr. Ballon? Balin? Is it B-A? Okay. American democracy. Now, democracy, we're not a pure democracy. That's the road to tyranny. That is mob rule. We're a democratic republic. Okay? And that's the fact. And that is his legal name, Barack Hussein Obama. Okay? Oh, okay, Jimmy. I see what you're saying. I had it backwards there, buddy. I had it backwards. You're a good man. You're down with the program. I see what you're saying. Now, anyway, what else has been exposed that Mitch McConnell did nothing to help in many of the House seats that could have easily been won. There are a lot of Republicans that used to be like peas in the pod with Mitch McConnell that see that and are not happy anymore. And they didn't like Trump. But now they're thinking, hey, this leadership is not that good. He's being exposed. The Senate races, we could have won every one of them if he'd gave them a modicum of support. But he threw barrels of money into Murkowski there in Alaska. Mitch is a DS turtle. You're right. A turtle. Andy Biggs will challenge Kevin McCarthy for leader. Well, let's hope that's the case. Because Kevin McCarthy, I'm up in the air, because you don't know. You don't know. Now, I see what's going on. Nikki said, Balin, prove it. Let me scroll back in the chats here. Yes, it is, and he is an American citizen, Barack Hussein Obama. Okay. Well, he did go to college as a foreign exchange student. That's established because he has dual citizenship with Indonesia. So he got government-funded education. It was either Harvard or Columbia or both, where he was considered a foreign exchange student because he has Indonesian citizenship. Now, hey, it's only money, right? But anyway, yep. Research Mitch's wife, Chow Chow, or whatever they call her. Her family is really big over there. Big financiers, big oligarchs there in China in the shipping industry. I think they do a lot of deliveries to Walmart. I had a bunch of people drop off the chats when I was going on my tirade. I'm sorry, but I have tried to talk to people about when has Christ told us to sit and give our spirit to darkness? When? It's a positive message. It's good news. And we're supposed to spread the good news. And we got people fighting for us, giving up everything they own, their safety, their wealth. We've already had founding fathers that put up everything they owned and risked their lives and their sacred honor to give us the things we have. I just can't understand how people with widescreen TVs, little toys in their hand that they can find out anything they wanted to push of a button if they know which button to push, go into these dark areas and they don't count their blessings and rejoice in the word and encourage the people that are out in the fight in a positive way. What if you met Carrie Lake and you were crying all over your shoes while she's going door to door, banging and shaking hands and trying to get people to go vote for her? Who needs somebody following behind you saying, look at me, I'm miserable. I'm scared, I'm miserable. Well, get out of the way. I got to go bang on doors and get some votes. People in the fight. And just like what I feel confident, there are more than one person in that building we were discussing earlier. You watch. And there were people involved. Nikki, I still want to get together with you and do a little class. I'm just checking the chats. Oh, we're still on Hussein. I'm not worried about that birth certificate. That's a whole nother story, Jimmy. Where that woman that certified the birth certificate died in a plane crash. I saw pictures of her floating around with her life jacket on. All these people floating around in the water because the plane landed, did a belly landing in the body of water, and I forget how many people were on the plane, like 70, and somebody had a cell phone out or something or GoPro and filming everybody floating around the water like Jimmy Crickets. So the plane was in the background sinking, and everybody was told to get off and float around the water till somebody came to get them. And she was the only one that drowned. Nobody saw her go down. Everybody said, "What happened to her?" She was wearing, I think, bright orange shoes or something. I saw her sticking her feet up out of the water. But anyway, um, Jimmy, you say Hussein was a good president. I don't know. I think that he is a person who ascribes to communist theology, and he is a dual citizen, and they're not letting him build his library. And he says because he's the only president that hadn't built a library. He's been out for what? How long? 6 years, and they haven't even taken a shovel to the dirt. You look at all the people that died in those wars with ISIS. Tell me if he's a good president. There's going to be so much dirt coming out on that administration, Fast and Furious, IRS, all that stuff's going to be coming out. How you doing, Patriot Starfighter? TMWT. What are you saying there? Barack Obama, I could care less. He's going to probably seek asylum when all this stuff comes out. In Indonesia, I doubt if they want him. Oh, I see what I'm trying to keep up with the chats. I'm not getting into birth certificates and all that stuff on this presentation. Joe Arpaio, I was talking about him earlier. He got a big story on that and put up all this evidence and stuff like that, and that's easily researched. Jimmy, if you ever want to look it up, and you know, if you want to decide something, I say it's best to get both sides of the pancake, Jimmy. Well, that's I don't think you could say that about Lincoln. I don't think you say that about Eisenhower. Eisenhower, and I certainly don't think you could say that about Reagan. Reagan was flipped over the table, and I've done broadcasts on that chain of events from the Kennedy assassination onward to how many times presidents are chosen by men in black suits. But I wouldn't say every president has been corrupt. John Adams was a very, very honorable man. He's got a very interesting life. There are many presidents that now, if you were to have typed that in 1845, Jimmy, you would have somebody coming at you wanting to preserve their honor, and that would be Andrew Jackson. If someone were to call him corrupt, they'd be on one end of the field, he'd be on the other end of the field, and bang, bang. So I don't think you can call Andrew Jackson corrupt, at least not and get away with it. Anyway, that was a long time ago. So anyway, we've got these things coming to light. We got the cyber uh, Bitcoin money, or whatever they want to call it. That is going to be huge. We've got Mitch McConnell, who's discredited himself within his own party. If they do get the Senate, Mitch McConnell ain't going to be elected leader. There ain't no way. But anyway, that's why I decided to jump on about this. Now, last night I was talking about Peter Navarro being arrested, having his phone confiscated, actually being taken by marshals to jail for contempt of Congress. And we all know the other cases and everything like that. Loss of the House would be bringing up Fast and Furious. Fast and Furious is the first time an attorney general has ever been held in contempt of Congress. Eric Holder. There were some emails that he sent out where he was sick to his stomach with fear because of the Fast and Furious situation, where they had illegally taken over 2,000 firearms and sold them to drug gangs in Mexico. And it's already been disclosed that there were memos found where the strategy was to later recoup the guns, but frame gun dealers in America, and also weaken the First Amendment for people who want to keep their guns. That was the purpose of the Fast and Furious operation. It was a very sophisticated psyop to destroy the Second Amendment. I'm sorry, Second Amendment is late, folks. To destroy the Second Amendment and to create an atmosphere where laws would be passed that were much more restrictive on gun dealers, because they were going to blame the weapons they sold to the drug cartels. They were going to blame that sale on gun dealers. That was all laid out. Eric Holder refused to testify. He was nauseous over it. He was cited for contempt of Congress, and nothing ever happened to him. Well, that might not be the case. Just as I was saying about Heidi Fleiss, past comes back to haunt. That is just one thing. And when people discuss FF, they say that means false, and the other thing is flag. Well, in some communications, FF might refer to Fast and Furious. Nobody walks away. Nobody forgets. Okay? So it isn't always a false and then second word flag when you see FF. Sometimes it could mean Fast and Furious. Let me just check chat, see what's going on. Sandy said, I love your rants. There we go. I'm going to put there you go. I'm going to put that up for people to read. Thank you, Sandy. If I hadn't said hi to anybody, when I go on, like Sandy said on my rants, the chats go by. They go by fast, don't they, Nikki? And I'm a one-man band. Oh, by the way, I'm 45 minutes in this broadcast. This broadcast is viewer-supported and creator-supported. It gets nothing from YouTube, even though they run commercials on it. Buy me a coffee link if somebody wants to show their appreciation. It's much appreciated. And if you're like me at times in your life where you're so broke you couldn't spend the night, please make sure you give me a like, you share, and subscribe. Okay, I kind of memorized that. What did you think of that, Jimmy? That's off the top of my head. I haven't even got it written down. And I'm old. Ha ha ha. And I am sorry if anybody gets upset at me because they feel I don't understand the dread they feel. That I am, if they feel I'm being insensitive, you have to listen to my past broadcasts. And Nikki's my witness. I reached out to people. I discussed the word. I discussed a lot of things. But that it's ongoing and dangerous of spreading. That's when I need to do that little thing like Cher did in the movie, snap out of it. And you think about 90% of the world population are living in conditions, much of what I had just described. So, anyway, I do. Would you rather me be like Bill Clinton? I'll feel your pain. No. No. And you don't want to feel the pain that the 90% of the world is feeling. And we got a much better chance of turning this ship around than a lot of other people. But I brought that up. Now, if they did that to Navarro for contempt of contempt of Congress, did that contempt of Congress charge against Eric Holder ever go away? No. Did they set a precedent for going out and grabbing somebody at the airport and arresting them? Look what they did to Steve Bannon. Look what they're trying to do to Trump. And by the way, Trump has put a request for a stay on that subpoena that is before the court right now. And we'll see what's going to happen with, because he's supposed to be testifying. They had him scheduled for tomorrow. And as we know, he's making his statement on day after tomorrow. I'm just reading the chats. Yes, Jimmy, maybe it was because they were minority communities. But I'll tell you what, when it comes to making money, they don't care who they sell it to. I had a friend of mine. I have friends all over the place. And they were dying. What was this about? I had a conversation with him in 2018. There was in Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland, and the DC area, there were so many people dying of what they called hot doses. They get a dose of whatever they're doing, crack or what, meth or whatever, that's been laced with fentanyl, and it hardly ever made the news. It was on local reports, but when you started putting them all together, It was unreal, and it probably still is that way. Um, I wouldn't touch any of that stuff. And that's the thing too, is when people get depressed and feel hopeless, they turn to drugs. They turn to alcohol. They turn into themselves. They're unable to be productive, except do one thing: go around and spread that. That's not productive. But that's what happens. People feel that they have no hope. And you want to win a fight, you better buck it up, and like Jack Dempsey said, a champion gets up when he knows he can't. Okay? You're going to win, and you know you're going to win, and you fight. So Eric Holder is looking over his shoulder. I just made that up. I might put that in up. Eric Holder is looking over his shoulder. Somebody write that down so I don't forget it. I can't read my own writing half time. So anyway, I talked today also with Nikki about this NWO having a conference and want to institute a second set of 10 commandments. Now, the cheap excuse is that, well, we're not changing the 10 commandments. We got a second set, is what some of the apologists are saying. Okay? So, for those of you who hadn't heard, they tried to go, the Pope was meeting with the Green New Deal crowd and all these new NWO, World Economic Forum, and the Save the Whales bunch, and everybody else that thinks they're an authority, little private clubs that get authoritative treatment. The press treats them as authorities when they're nothing but private clubs. Well, anyway, the Pope was going to meet with about a dozen of them, and they were going to go up on Mount Sinai with this set of 10 commandments that this bunch came up with. And I heard today from Believing that Egypt told them they couldn't come and to Mount Sinai. And so they're going to do it in London, I think she said. And I said I didn't care if they do it in Hoboken or somewhere like that. I didn't approve of the Pope contributing anything of the church or from the church towards a philosophy, a construct that is fraudulent, namely global warming. And I'll go over that in more detail in other chats, and I have talked about that in other chats. Like has been said, a volcano. One volcano goes off, it puts out more than we can put out. With all our factories, all our cars, all our stuff for like 100 years. And we've got, I don't know how many active volcanoes around the earth every day. And like Reagan said, carbon dioxide, that's what trees breathe. Okay? What does everybody want to cut a carbon footprint so trees suffocate? What are they thinking? Oh, now, Jimmy, I just now saw your wouldn't God want us to take care of our planet? He made us, gave us dominion over the resources. Now Satan has power over the planet. But Well, that's what if I don't cut down my trees, I got tons of them. Yeah, Mike. See, I have got a DVD that somebody did. It was a guy that privately did a sojourn, and he took somebody with him, and he showed that they have that area fenced off, the Egyptian government, and but they went into that area anyway, and the stuff they filmed was pretty wild. They feel that they found the altar that the Israelites worshipped at. They feel they found the rock that Moses struck that brought forth water. It's very interesting. I think it was done in the 90s, and it didn't get much. You're right, Jimmy. Satan has no power over God, but he's walking this earth and he's getting in people's brains, whispering in their ears. That's right, Nikki. That's right. As long as people can go in their cars and go to Walmart and do all these things, uh, I don't get it. It's like my dad used to say, as long as you can swing your legs out of bed in the morning, you can make a buck. Okay, and every day's a bonus. Every day's a bonus. So we're in the battle. We're able to communicate with each other. Okay, I know Robert got a strike. We got to keep on. That's why I was talking about, Nikki, where we do um, get some people to start channels that we can fall back on if worse comes to worse. They can't stop it. They can't stop people from communicating and giving their ideas. Jimmy, what are you talking about? Who? You ain't talking about me, are you? You heard Wild West that London kicked them out on Grand Supreme News today. Well, I tell you, I don't know if that's true. I hope it is. But that happens. This stuff is going on when Biden gives $4 trillion over to this Green New Deal climate summit garbage. $4 trillion. Let me give you an idea of no hate. Jimmy, hate is sinful. You can be angry, but do not sin. Okay. Christ, when he went into the temple and got the money changers and cracked the whip, he was angry, but he did not sin. But anyway, let me give you an idea of $4 trillion. You remember when everybody got $2,000 for the COVID stimulus? Okay, that was a $2 trillion package. So Biden, I guess this down payment of $4 trillion to the European powers, namely the families, the principalities in Brussels. $4 trillion is 2 times that deal. So that's $4,000. Me, you, your family, your friends, That is the $2,000 stimulus times 2. So that means that's $4,000 going over to that bunch. Thank you, Joe Biden. When a pound of bacon is pushing $7, when a pound of butter is pushing $6, okay? When everything's higher, and the strategic petroleum reserve is almost depleted down to dangerous levels, but they're going to stop taking it out of the strategic reserve on the 25th, and you're going to see gas prices go right through the damn roof. Jimmy says, I don't know, who's Jimmy talking to? Jimmy said, wait a minute. Let me see what's going on here. Jimmy saying that Christ sure did get mad at those that judged, especially the religious folk. Jesus come to bring relationships, not religion. Well, there's a difference between judging and recognizing, Jimmy. Just because I recognize evil doesn't mean I'm judging somebody. I'm just saying, hey, that stuff's evil. You would pay more for if it meant preserving the planet for our children. Well, Jimmy, I'm telling you, these do-gooders that you're, I don't know if you're how far in the bandwagon you are, but when they're taking flush tax money, people that have septic systems, to save the rivers and tributaries because they're not paying a sewer bill. That's why. Okay? They're just, where do you think for thousands of years people went to the bathroom anyway? You have people wanting to get rid of cows because they fart. You have the government thinking they could tax somebody for having a bowel movement and saying we're doing it to save the earth when they're just pissing the money away. Okay? And if you don't give them your money to use the bathroom, you're not saving the planet. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Where do you think the Indians of North America or the millions and millions of people over in Europe went to the bathroom? Okay? You can't even go to the can without some liberal sticking his hand out saying, give me money and you should feel guilty because you just went to the can. It's ridiculous. You pay more then, okay? It's like P.T. Barnum said, there's a sucker born every minute and 2 to take them. So pay more money, Jimmy. They come around me, they're going to find out. And Jimmy, you're taking over the chats. That's right, Mike. See, it's all funny money. And, people that say they don't mind paying, well, I'd like to know how they earned what they got. How many hammers did they swing? How many bales of hay did they toss? Or did they go to the government job, sit around, or go to Twitter and drink wine and get a paycheck and get paid good money to push a communist agenda? That's not work. And to pay more money to support the programs that support that kind of doings, that's not giving. That's job security. I'm recognizing Jimmy Balin. I'm recognizing, not judging. No one's trying to tax anyone for going to the bathroom. Well, tell that in Maryland they got a flush tax. Okay, a flush tax. That's what it's called. That was in the Washington Post 5 years ago. You live down the country. You paid for your own septic system. It's natural. It's recycling naturally the nutrients into the soil. I mean, what happens when you think a horse lifts its tail up or a cow? Okay, but no, they have to take a natural act and say, you got to pay us. It's bureaucratic mafia coming in a priestly robes of climate protection, when all they are is just a bunch of bureaucratic criminals. Now, you say you're trying to understand. Understand that, Jimmy. They are taxing people for going to the bathroom. Okay? And they are framing it with this phony climate change crap. And when you go out and swing a hammer, or you flip hamburgers, or you dig ditches to get your money, you get a little more aggravated when they do that kind of stuff to you than if you go to a government office and sit on your duff and get money from the people who are swinging that hammer. Okay? Now, that should be easy to understand. And, you know, it's like I've said before, I don't even finish a point and somebody has typed an answer before I'm even finished. But anyway, Jimmy, I'm not bashing you. I'm talking about past situations I've had. I don't know. I haven't been able to keep up with the chats, but if somebody wants to learn my point of view, typing out responses or doing rapid fire responses before I can even finish the point I'm making, not getting anybody anywhere because I don't have time to read all that. But this has been a fairly productive discussion, and you know, you can replay the video, and I think it takes an hour. I think an hour, and you can see the chats, and there's a delay. There's a delay of about 20 seconds between when you put in the chat and I see it. No, wait a minute. I know it's a delay about 20 seconds when I say something and you hear it. So you got to kind of keep that in mind. The elite aren't going to stop flying their private jets. They want to spend money on electric cars and aren't going nowhere. And another thing people aren't letting out, that's been the case for years, is that China has outlawed gas vehicles for years. People have got to ride around with little scooters and little golf carts. They can't go like you and I can go cross country. You know, but hey, it helps them with their social credit scores, right? That's right, Debbie. They've turned taxes from being an incidental thing to a confiscatory thing. And we've got bloated governments all over the place. Climate change is a scam, follow the money. Like I said, the biggest emission from a modern vehicle with a catalytic converter is H2O. Okay? H2O. But they find a way to piss and moan about water, you know? Patriot Starfire. Well, I've done a bit of studying on religion, and it's before the Roman Empire. It started before the Roman Empire. I'll tell you that. Christ was around. Christ was around during the Roman Empire, but Moses wasn't. Okay. I just went way back in the chat. That was as far as I could go back. Yep. There's going to be a gut punch, and we got to be ready for it. And we got to be firm in the right, and we got to be prepared. We don't want to be a burden. I said that in other live streams. Everybody should have enough stuff on hand and contact with their friends. And like my mom used to, when we get a big snowstorm coming, she'd fill the tub up with water, and she would have water jugs around in case the well went out or pipe froze. You could take a bucket and you dip it in the tub and flush the toilet. You know, just little things like that. Synthetic meat and bugs while they're eating steak and lobster. Where'd Jimmy go? Is he eating steak and lobster and we're eating bugs? Jimmy? He's gone. He's going to eat steak and lobster. I knew it. I got to catch a bug. Sandy, I'm reading Bubba's. Oh, okay, Jimmy, you're here. Listen, okay, good, buddy. Are you sure you're not eating steak and lobster? Let's see. What were you talking about? I got to figure out, Bubba. Mountain Man can't. He has to figure it out, but you're better than me, no computer. Well, Jimmy, you grew up poor. No, I'm not judging. I just asked you, you're eating steak and lobster. What's that? Barn never see Walmart. Yeah, I wouldn't be buying that. You talk about that rotisserie chicken, Patriot Starfighter at Walmart. I don't trust it. Mike C uses bugs for bait. Hi, Ann. Absolutely sure. Absolutely sure what? Lobster or bugs, Jimmy? Oh, okay. What about getting a banner up? I see what you guys say. Oh, Jimmy goes to Mexico to eat lobster. Well, bring us some back, will you? I tell you, trout's some good eating, boy. Woo! Okay, guys. I've been an hour and 14 minutes. I just enjoyed reading the chat. So when I'm quiet, that's what I'm doing. I'm reading the chats. But I appreciate y'all tuning in. And I see that, Jimmy. You can't get it across the board. They get everything else across the board. So why can't we have lobster? Okay, all right, guys, y'all take care of yourselves. Take care of your friends and family. Keep a smile on your face. Count your blessings. We're moving forward. Things are being exposed. People are learning something new every day worldwide. You all have a great evening, and I'll be talking to you soon. Thank you for tuning in, and check out my other channel, Mountain Man Says. All right, y'all have a great evening, each and every one of you. Thank you for stopping in.